Meeting of the Sherman County Commissioners come to order, please. Public comment is open for the first 15.
Did you guys have any questions on the minutes?
I did not have any questions when I read it.
No, I didn't have any. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 29th. I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the minutes of February 29th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Everyone get to look at all the tax rolls,
Yes.
corrections?
Yep.
They're 2024 60 or 55 through 61. Do I hear a motion to approve these?
Make a motion to approve the tax corrections 55 through 61.
And I will second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
On that particular issue, when is our next tax sale?
Brett,
Sure.
I think he's working,
Oh, we don't know when that is.
not yet. He
Okay.
started some preliminary paperwork, but
If I remember correctly, when they do the tax sales, we also do a title insurance with them, with one of our companies.
right.
So do they have to bid that in? Is that how we did that the last time? With the title searches?
As a separate deal, in that, a separate bid, in that, Ashley?
Yes.
I think last time Brett chose the person, but you'd have to ask him.
Okay.
I didn't know if we moved that around, or we don't, or does he just picks it? Is that what we're saying?
I believe so last time. I don't know how you guys want to handle it, or,
Well, we probably need to find out for sure, I
Okay.
guess, first, so, okay,
okay.
thank you.
Make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $208,845.50.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, paid the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Oh, your letter opener, sir?
Yep.
This is from Melco on the old landfill. Annual check. from February of 2024. I don't see anything where there's any concern, summary. No other, there's a 10-part tetrachlorine, and then no other violations, so. You see that, there's the man you can ask now for.
Do you know when our next tax sale is?
It'll likely be October-ish.
And my other question on that was when we do the title, who does the title work for us? Do they bid that in?
We've had, we try to alternate between Courtney Bourne and Jeff Mason.
Oh, so they switch back and
Yeah.
forth? Okay. I didn't know if they had to bid that or not. Okay.
Other correspondence is from High Plains Middle, their monthly meeting. It's like, got a letter from the state of the public notice regarding water, Kansas water pollution control permit. This is on the feedlot west of town. Feedlot west of town. There are all the different areas. Reissuing permits is what they're doing here. But, all over the state. See,
I did read that, so.
you know all those places, don't you, Mr. Blair?
No, I don't. I do not. I guess as long as they do.
Yeah. You saw the bid on?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a limit on how many heads the cattle they can have before they have to have a permit?
No, it's more of what the watershed is available to them and the number of lagoons that would be required to
on that. Basically, only had the one in Steve.
Yes, just the one in Sherman County. With the gentleman that had the opportunity to look at the dump truck bids for the landfill. Do we have money in the landfill budget? Okay.
Now, is this an actual dump truck, or are they converting something?
Dump truck.
This is,
Okay,
The other one's just wore out, he said.
okay.
We'll make a motion to go ahead and purchase this or accept this bid for the dump truck.
I will second.
been moved and seconded. We accept the bid for a 1999 IHC dump truck. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
That comes from Wilkins Trucks, by the way, so you guys know. It's local.
Okay. No other people want to be on public comment. Ms. Chrissy?
Robbie. For Chrissy's appointment. Sorry, too.
Oh,
Good morning.
morning.
I'd like to reintroduce you guys to Nicole Hollow. She has worked in dispatch for five. I always say longer because she just kind of plugged right in during COVID, that's right.
Perfect.
Yeah, she does a really good job for us, working on the evening shift, which is really busy, so. Anyhow, we're with you today. Annually, there is a National Telecommunicator Appreciation Week. Telecommunicator is just a fancy way of saying 911 dispatcher. And so we're just asking that you sign the proclamation for us for that week to declare it in the county.
It is signed by Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The end.
Keep up the great work.
I mean, if you want to read the whole thing out loud, you can.
Well, that's why we gave it to you.
If you don't mind, we'll post it online just to show.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you very much.
Helen, we're a little ahead of schedule, but I don't think that'll bother you much, will it?
It won't bother me. I may have one other person come, but that's the way it goes, so. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to give some updates on the Land and Sky City Byway and also give you your annual invoice. 2023's been kind of a busy time for the Byway. We've accomplished a lot of things. We printed 5,500 copies of a new brochure, which mostly focused on agriculture, since we're the only ag byway of the nation. And we delivered those to both of the welcome centers in the state, both Goodland and at Belle Plaine, as well as 27 community centers throughout the state. And then when people have inquired, we've also sent that out. We've also contracted with Certified Folder to distribute our brochures beginning in April for 6 months from Lyman along I-70 to the Missouri state line. And they'll go through at least 4,500 of those. So we felt that it was time to get them out and get them distributed other than the places that we were able to do it. We've been to several monthly meetings with Northwest Kansas Travel Council. National or the state byway has quarterly meetings. We've been involved in those. And we attended the state tourism conference, and we had a booth there of the byway. And that was very successful. A lot of people did stop by. They're in the tourism industry. We needed to check the mile markers for where our kiosks were. That was a request of the state, so we drove the byway and checked the mile markers because I wasn't sure what the mile markers were. I knew where they were, but anyway, we did that. And then annually, we have to provide a performance document to the state saying what we did, and then also the plans for next year, and that was completed. We also participated in the Sherman County Foundation Match Day, and although we didn't receive enough funding to get the match, it was good publicity-wise, I think, to let the public know that we're out there. So there was it was in the paper, and there was an event at the Max Jones. So I thought, at least that part was good. And it's the first year we tried it, so we were pleased with the results of that. The carpentry department at Northwest Tech is still working on the cover for the signage we have at 27 in Rodeo in Cheyenne County. The frame is up, and hopefully they'll get that finished before school's out. We're updating our quarter management plan, which is the plan that we had to have in place in order to become a byway. We also have to update that occasionally, and if we should be so fortunate as to apply for national status again, we have to have that updated to show the federal highway. We're working on a new website. The one we have was started when we first started the byway and is very outdated. And the new guides, and I apologize for not having these to you, but I have received one in the mail. But I think it's a nice guide, and it shows our byway, and we've got I think 3 pages in here about the byway and the contacts and stuff. This is done every 2 years by the state, and so this was something that we got to provide pictures for, and they put it together. Let's see, what was I have? The life cycle of the crops, we don't have any for pinto beans or from canola. And so those have been ordered through the agriculture for Kansas Agriculture in the Classroom, which we partner for to do our other signage that we have. And that's probably going to be 2 or 3 months before that is done. The artwork is back, and then we'll get those in place. And we're kind of short in supply of our items like stamps and stuff and checks, but we've run out of. So we ordered those. We do have several of the byway pins and patches that we got to begin with, which that funding was donated by Bank West of Kansas, and the Motorcycle Museum in St. Francis does sell a lot of those. We will be having a man booth at the Kansas State Fair. It's a 2-day event of Explore of the Kansas Festival. The thing that I need your help with is, and I'll pass these out. We've been working on trying to get these other locations for our kiosks for over 2 years. And there's been a lot of changes with KDOT. And so I've been in touch with them a lot this last month. And the one we want to do in Sherman County is there when you turn off to go to Smoky Gardens. And it will be identical, well, pretty identical sign-wise to the one that's at Road B. There'll be 3 interpretive panels, and we'll have 4 things for the life cycle of the crops. The difference is these will all be installed in concrete because it's all done together. We feel that we can probably raise the funding to do the kiosk and the signage and everything. But the state questions are that the proposed site location entrance for the pull-offs would not be placed on the highway, but would need to be placed on the adjacent county roads. And they want to know if the county would have any issues with the entrances being located on adjacent county roads. The ones that are in existence, the kiosk up at the state line is on Logan Avenue. You turn off and go on Logan Avenue, and then the one at Road B, which you turn off
right before or right after Road B,
Right,
depending
yeah.
on where you're coming from.
Yeah, and you know, and one of those is 50 feet from the turnoff to the beginning of the way, and the other one's 45. So that's kind of what we're looking at that distance-wise. They say they won't provide funding or resources, equipment for construction of these pull-off areas, and they want to know if we'd be able to complete the construction for culvert piping, dirt work, concrete, gravel, permits, surveys, plans, and pull-offs. KDOT will provide the right-of-way use permits. In Wallace County, on Friday, they heard that they're gonna let the bid to do this, widen the shoulder, so the survey on that one was done like a year ago. When I talked to Chris Eichman at KDOT, he said he was hoping that he could talk them into doing the survey for the one in Sherman County, but there's no guarantees on that. And as far as the placement, you've got a map included in there of the Google Earth, which is what they've gone off with. And this one would be in the southwest corner of that intersection. Obviously, there's gonna have to be a culvert there.
So, here?
Yeah, so there'll have to be a culvert there. And maybe quite a bit of dirt work. I don't know if that's something that the county could provide or not. And I guess that's a question for you. I don't know if you need to talk to, you know, the
Well,
road maintenance or
absolutely, I have
whatever.
to meet with Rod Roder on that.
Yeah,
But that's something that they wanna know. As far as the cost and stuff, like I said, I think we can raise funds to do that. And this would be the first one we do Wallace County after that, is kind of the plan, unless something changes.
How big are these pads?
Okay, and included in there, I got, you'll see a copy of, or a picture of the one that's up already existing.
Okay.
And then, so the actual size will be what is on this page,
Okay.
that you have the measurements there.
Okay.
22 feet.
Yep. So what you would need from the county is the dirt work and what else?
If they're working the culvert, if you can
And the
prepare the
culvert.
site, then we'll, I don't know if, depending on when they approve this, and apparently there's a lot of new people, well, there just are a lot of new people at the state. Some of them have not been included in this process at all, and so they're not having a meeting, because I asked if I could go to that.
Yeah.
But they're emailing everything to everybody and getting a lot of input. One of their concerns is a line of sight, which I understand that. But I think if we're, 45 to 50 feet off of those county roads, that's what they have now. And as far as parking and everything, I'm saying maybe 2 spaces. The one in Sharon Springs is wide open, so there's a lot of parking there. But the space up at the state line is about 2 spaces. I think there is a handicap one up there also, so we don't need a lot of space.
As long as this doesn't encroach on the landowner.
Right.
No, it won't. It'll be strictly on KDOT property.
Okay.
Because that's the right of way, the old, when they raised the road,
Right.
that's the state's right of way yet
Yep.
on that. That's why,
And the reason they chose that side is there's a gas line on the other side.
right.
Okay.
So basically what I need to know from you, are you willing to have it come off a county road? And I need to know if you can do the dirt work and the culvert and stuff.
That will be something we'll have to meet with Rod.
We'll meet with Rod and then I can get back to
Okay,
you
yeah.
to let you know, but at this time, we'll just, because, see what the distance for how long of a culvert we need to set in there. And then what would be required for the amount of dirt to brought in, and then gravelled over the
Now,
top.
do we need anything, verification from any of the state people? you know,
To
so we
do-
don't do a bunch of work and then they say, well,
No,
no.
that's why, and I won't have anything from them for probably 2 months or more that we can even put it on that site.
Okay.
But Chris was gonna take the site, and take the plans and decide where it's gonna be. So they'll do all that, so there shouldn't have to be a survey and anything like that,
So this could be a midsummer thing
the earliest.
or fall.
I mean, we've been working on it for over 2 years, so I have no guarantees.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's, the byways are a KDOT project, and along with assistance from the tourism and also the Historical Society. And so it's kind of low on their totem pole, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's
It's
their,
high on ours, but,
it's their project, but they don't wanna do a
yeah.
lot of work.
And if you look at the rest of the questions, obviously, they're looking for maintenance to be done by the committee, and want to talk to somebody about upkeep. So I think, you know, they're gonna okay the site, hopefully, but that's all they're going to do. Now, that doesn't apply to the existing ones. And because ours are on the byway, if there's any maintenance that needs to be done or anything like that, I think that they should probably do that.
It's their property.
It's their property, and they're going right by it. It's not off the beaten path or anything like that. And there's not really a lot of maintenance. The only maintenance we've really had is, there've been some weeds at that one at Road B, and I've taken the weed eater, or the state has already done that. And then there's, probably needs to be a culvert up there by the state line, because that washes down the road and washes that out a little bit. But, you know, the state has been taking care of those. So as far as maintenance and everything, I don't think there's gonna be a lot.
So how would that change if you got national status, is that the correct term? What, would that make the state's participation even less?
No. All that does is that we get more publicity nationwide
Okay.
by the byways. So it
Okay.
doesn't affect anything as far as how things are done
No,
here.
I mean, the state
Yeah.
still owns, I mean, they still have the highway and
Yeah.
everything, but, okay.
Who owns that land out there? You guys know?
I don't know.
I was just wondering if they were aware that you were thinking about doing this.
Well, Chuck Iverick owns this one, house, I believe.
I mean, it's not their land that we
Right.
put it on, but
And I have not talked to them.
I'm not sure on the other two, but I know.
we put a lot of money down into Smoky Gardens. It'd be nice to have some
Oh, absolutely.
stuff right
It's a
there.
good
for sure.
spot.
Yeah,
We just wanna make sure everything's good to go if Rod says he can do it.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
The train isn't like we wished it was, but it's probably the best place for it.
Yeah.
Northeast corner.
pardon?
south,
Northeast or south?
southwest,
Southwest.
right here. That's right here.
The southwest corner is courthouse.
I think just as long as they're aware that that's what you're doing.
And we can let them know what we're gonna do,
Yeah.
so.
All right, well,
I got a question if you're done with that.
yeah,
With the kiosk that we have here in town, 3 times in the last 6 months, I've had people stop me and, where's it at? They can't find it. I don't know if in the instructions you could put directly in front, like location would be directly in front of O'Reilly's, or a bigger sign by the road close, barricades, something. I mean, actually, one time I'm like, it's right over there, and they're going where? And they're like, this, that little kiosk.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's, 3
It's not
different
the
times.
ideal place, believe me. It's
Yeah.
the
no,
place.
that was
It's
It's a
kinda,
place, it's a only place that
The state owned
we could
that
put it.
property.
the state owned the property, yeah.
that was contested when that was put in.
Yes,
You know.
and that was not where,
But if we could put a
The
bigger
city
sign by where the barricade's at, like something that they can see easily,
Okay.
because most of them are elderly, so I don't know.
right. And we had an issue with that snowstorm too, as they plowed the snow up, clear, way up on the
Right,
barricade
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And so, actually, I asked Chris Eichmann if I could see a copy of the agreement that they had with the city regarding that. And so, when we get that, we'll address that.
Right.
The state probably will not pay for some signage for that, but maybe that's something that we can consider.
'Cause I mean, if there's 3 people that stop me just randomly,
Yeah,
that there's a lot more that are driving by.
right, so,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I appreciate you mentioning that, so we'll address that.
All right, well,
The other thing is, I'd like to introduce Chris. She's the director for the Cheyenne Community Development Corporation, and she's on our byway committee,
all
so
right.
I don't have anything else. If you don't have any other questions,
I don't think so. I mean, until we talk to Ron,
okay?
and see what he thinks about it. And he's familiar with that.
Mhm.
Actually, do we need to have a motion to approve this?
Yeah, it's one of our annual dues.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to,
Well, I'll make a motion to support Skyway for $6,000.
yes.
That's our
second.
annual due.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the annual fee of $6,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both same sign.
Thank you.
You didn't have to twist our arms too hard.
Well, that's good, because you said you'd do that. For those of you who don't know, the 6,000 is based on $1 per capita based on the most recent census. And all 3 counties have agreed to do that on that basis.
Greg?
I don't know if she has them. I didn't know the case, but.
We allocated you 15 and you got more now, so.
Yeah. I'll talk slower.
Okay.
How are you today?
Good.
Good.
All right. Well, we're a whopping 1 month into the year, so we'll start with that. And actually, it was a good month, so we'll go through the financials real quick and kind of give you a little direction of where we're headed. So, revenue for the month was $3.3 million. That's the gross revenue, and then we have the contractual adjustments, which we've talked about before, that what they take off as discounts from the insurance companies. That's 1.4, leaves us a net patient revenue of 1.8 million. And then we have our 340B and other operating monies in there of 252,000, gives us a total income before expenses of 2.1 million for the month. So, and that's running on an annual budget of 26 million. So we're a little bit at just a slightly for the month 2% below budget on the income side. We made it up on the expense side a little bit. So salaries are running at 728 for the month. Annual total salaries is 9.2 million, so we're pretty much in line. And then we have our basically our insurance costs of 283, and that is significantly up for the month. It's almost 50% above what we budgeted for the month. It's just the function of it. The biggest thing in that one is the PTO and whatnot that was taking people take over the holidays. It gets paid out in the January month, and so yeah, that's the biggest issue there. And we can't really plan on when people are, well, we can plan, project, but when they actually take it. Gives us total income, like I said, 2.1 million, and against that, the expenses of employee-related of 1 million, and total expenses of 1.9 million. So we ended up with an operating income for the month of 135,000. So, and that is quite a bit ahead of budget. And budgeted was 74,000. So we're doing okay. And we have our below the line numbers, the county appropriation of 52,000 for the month, and other income and expenses come in as a total non-operating income of $78,000 for the month we have income of $214,000. So doing pretty well. The number we've talked about before, that EBITDA, is they want to measure the earnings before interest and taxes and so on. We budgeted to be at 13.35. We're running at 14.5, and that's a pretty good number. Industry standard is if you're doing around 13%, you're doing pretty well. So that's good. Expenses continue to climb a little bit. Our average daily expense now is running about 50. This is for the year end, so through December, about $58,000 a day. It's the cost to run the hospital. We're still maintaining cash on hand of about 257 days. So we'd like to get that a little higher, get us up to over the year mark, but this is pretty good compared, and I'll give you some numbers here in a minute of where the state averages are. So we're doing all right there, but and we can run for about 9 months so if we didn't have any income coming in. Average census for the month of January was a med surge of about 4.2 patients per day, and in the emergency room 5.7. So, and then we are seeing total visits in the clinic for the month of January were 1,130, and then our specialty visits about 87. So, running around 1,200 a month of total visits. A couple of things that we try to measure that we've gone over before, but just to bring it to your memory again. Salaries as a percentage of net patient revenue. This is how much salary does it cost as part of your revenue. The state average is running about 56%, and we're running about 49%, so we're doing pretty well keeping that expense down. And then the other number we've talked about is what percentage of our revenue this comes from outpatient versus inpatient. And state average is about 74%, and we're running at 87%, so we're having a lot more outpatient. And that's, again, the industry trend is going that direction. A lot more preventive care, and you can think about it just in your own experiences. I remember the first knee surgery I had, I was in the hospital for a week. It's totally an inpatient surgery. Most recently, I had that same surgery done, and it was the same day. Walked in, and had the surgery done, and walked out. So,
And limped out.
yeah, actually didn't limp out. So, I mean, even joint replacements now are
1 day?
1 day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I hear some of them are getting pretty close to doing outpatient, and that's just the technology has improved, and so it moves more and more to outpatient, which is more effective, more cost effective. So, the other thing we look at, we try to measure our employee turnover. This is for the year then. The average for the state was about 19%, and we were running at 18%. So we had a little bit of an increase towards the end of the year that dumped up our annual number there. It's a little less than 1 in 5, but that's, as you know, every time you lose an employee, that's just an expense trying to have to replace them. So that's a number we would really like to get down lower, even though we're a little ahead of the state average. It needs to go down. So, and some of these benchmarks I talked about, the days cash on hand, as I told you, we're running that 257. The state average is 92 days cash, so we're almost triple what the state is. Then the other average we look at here is a combined Kansas and Missouri, kind of the Midwest average, and they're running about 108, so we're still more than double. And then we have our gross days at AR, how long it takes us to actually collect. And we're running at 44 days, and the state average is 61. So we're getting a little quicker on our collections than the state. But yeah.
Still, that's compared to other industries, you know, they're looking at 28 days and you're at,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. Well, and those that are, you know, I think of, little auto mechanic, you know, you pay when you get the service.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
we get to send it to the insurance company and have them decide what they're gonna pay and not pay.
Yeah,
and
what they're gonna, and then
then go back to the consumer and say, hey, this is your share, and so.
the consumer sends it back and says, let's check it again, and,
Yeah. So 44 days is actually pretty good,
Yeah.
but I've heard of hospitals running as low as 25, but that's pretty doggone efficient to get it down there.
yeah.
So, then the last measure we do is just kind of, we do this internally for no other reason than just to help the employees understand that every employee has a contribution to the bottom line. So our average projected per FTE, per full-time employee, is about $30,000 of revenue that they produce. So, and that covers everybody from our maintenance crew to our nurses. You know, it's just everybody has a role. That's really it on the things going on at the hospital. We did complete our strategic planning for our it's a 3-year long-term plan, and so year 3 we're in right now, and haven't really changed any of the pillars, but some of the details, and it's a lot more focused this year on some of the numbers and less of the touchy-feely stuff of, you know, we feel good about what we're doing to actually measuring the numbers and looking at specific departments, and it's pretty telling. I know one of our major producing departments dropped off this last year from generally producing a couple $100,000, and this last year they produced 4,000.
Wow.
That's, and when you dig into it, it's the change in reimbursements, the way we get paid. So there's that's some of the targets for this year that we want to work on, is really taking a look at those numbers and where we can improve and trying to
Got any
measure ourselves a little better.
big summer maintenance projects or anything?
No, I don't think so this year. We finally got the pump that was necessary to keep the humidity controlled in the emergency room, or not emergency, in the OR. That project's only been going on for about 3 years now. So we'll finally get that resolved here. And we did the roof last year on the clinic. So I don't know that we have anything really major. Our insurance company does not like the concrete and the way it's all broken up along the sidewalks, and we agree, but don't know how you really repair that without just tearing it out and putting a whole new sidewalk in. We do have almost $2 million of capital improvements planned for this year. A significant piece of that is within the podiatry area with Dr. Eddie being new, and he's already getting some surgeries in and doing things that I think is important. In rural communities, to have a board-certified foot and ankle surgeon is pretty good. We were real lucky to get him to, and he came to us, wanted to move here, so.
That's great.
Yeah, I think you might know, he's from Syracuse originally, is where he grew up.
Okay.
So this gets him a little closer to home
But
and a place he can do some work. So.
how's your supply of nursing and staff? Are you still having to do a lot of contractual
We
nurses?
still have too much there. In fact, I kind of skipped over that number. Steve, you're just catch me all the time. That is one of those expenses. Our contract labor for the month was $107,000.
Yeah.
When we compare our total salaries were $728, so that's still a significant
Make a
number of contract labor. We have several in the nursing area, one in respiratory therapy and one in radiology right now. So we're kind of disappointed this last year that college wasn't able to get that radiology, that RadTech program done, and that was no fault of theirs nor ours. It was political, and we actually had an objection raised from liberals saying, well, that's our market area. And I'm like, when have we ever had anybody from liberal coming up here to do clinicals? And when have we ever hired anybody from the liberal program? So a little bit frustrating. I know Ben's just, you know, working his tail off to get us some more educational opportunities here, so we can grow our own.
Right.
Because recruiting is just very, very difficult. So,
Okay.
okay, I took my 15, I didn't take more.
Still moving forward on the plans for hospital?
We've got, they're working right now on the feasibility study, which is the first step, so that we can go to USDA and look for some financing there. One of the things I've been stressing, whenever we get a chance to talk about this, is we're not going to be looking for the community to pay for this. We're going to pay for it from the revenue of the hospital, from the ongoing operations and the support of the USDA. But they do this for rural hospitals, you know, all the time. So that
That's a
doesn't
good
mean
plan.
doesn't mean we wouldn't appreciate the community
Yeah.
support. But one of the concerns that every time you talk about building is the community says, "Well, my tax is going to go up." You know, no, they're not.
I think that's an important part that they should hear often, is
Yeah.
that we can get a facility, update our facility, and not have to increase the taxes, because, you know, everybody's...
And that's why those numbers like today's cash on hand and some of those other things, you know, that you think, how come you're accumulating so much cash? Well, you know,
It takes a lot of cash to do stuff.
yeah, we have about $13 million accumulated right now, but a new building is 60 to 80 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that is something we're gonna have to talk about here, is what do we do with the existing facility? I mean, can we convert it into some other county use? How else can we utilize that building? So it's still a viable structure. There's nothing wrong with the structure there. But for healthcare purposes, I think I shared this with you a couple months back, to bring it up to code, it's not cost effective. It would cost us more to remodel than it would to build new.
It was the same issue we had with the nursing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, except that I think hospitals might even be more stringent. But I've been in the nursing home business before, and I know what it's like. And it takes,
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right, Rod. So,
All right.
is that
That's
answer?
one though? Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
We'll keep working on it.
Is there anything else that needs to be brought before the commission at this time?
Did have a conversation with a couple of people from Edson. We brought this up a few years ago about the roads in Edson, the streets.
Right?
And I think we were all in agreement that was the county, you know, should be responsible for that because they're not an incorporated city. So it's county. So I visited with Rod about it briefly. And he thinks that the best option, because let's face it, when you're in a little community like that, somebody's gonna take it upon themselves
To fix the road.
drag it out, you know, to drag the streets and whatnot. So we talked about milled asphalt, and we didn't like that because we'd end up with chuck holes and then have to patch. So he's thinking about more of the crushed concrete from the landfill. That would kind of work itself into those roads a little bit, 'cause a lot of them just don't have a base.
Right.
And so that's what I wanted to discuss with you guys. What do you think about it?
Well, we've got the product, you know.
Yeah.
We have to, we're gonna crush it one way or the other.
Rod's thinking for the whole town, probably 10 loads.
Okay?
He thinks he'd probably do it all. So that's where we're at on it.
4, 5 streets or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. You don't have Road 60, what is that, 64?
Yeah.
Runs through there. That's not in too bad a shape, but some of those others in. Right in.
Across the one north and south.
Yeah, like in front of the post office, all
Right.
through there, yeah. So, That was his thought.
Well, I know it's been a concern, so anything that we can do to help over there, I think would be good. Crest Bend, I think it's a good plan.
Good. Well, if you guys want me to talk to him and see what his time frame is, and even if it's just once in a while, I can get a load or two
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
some of the key spots. Eventually get it.
yeah.
I'm not gonna, I wouldn't make it a priority deal, but.
Yeah, because I know he's busy right now
Yeah,
raising roads, and then I talked to him, you know, he hopes in another week to start going down to the Smoky and laying in some of that concrete on the riprap.
right, yep,
Because he wants to free up his excavator for other projects, so.
right. I know there was, I'd asked him how the water level was, and, no, that was Kenny Sanderson. He said, well, it could come up a little bit, but the state's thinking if we're gonna do any weed control,
Right.
we better do it before we raise the water level.
Right.
So I gotta revisit that and see where
Well,
he's at.
the water level's down so we can lay the riprap in,
Exactly,
so.
yep. All right. That's all I got.
I have nothing else tonight.
I do not have anything.
Okay. Entertain a motion for adjournment then.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Meeting's adjourned.